So forgive me if I'm being a little bit technical here, but I hope to avoid some confusion later. We believe virtually all cancers have a genetic component. By that I mean there's a disruption in normal cell DNA or gene function which causes the tumor to grow in an uncontrolled manner, leading to additional acquired genetic mutations, giving the tumor new ways to grow or spread. So this is different than what I believe is at the heart of your question, which would be asking how many cancers have an inherited abnormal gene received at time of conception that puts someone at an increased risk for developing cancer later in life. So currently our best estimates that there are only 5 to 10% of cancers that are diagnosed are related to these inherited genes. So that means 90% or more of new cancer diagnoses are what we call sporadic, which means they occur without inheriting a risky gene. So let's take breast cancer as a useful example. BRCA1 or 2, which many of us know as BRCA, are known inherited genes that increase the risk of breast and some other solid cancers. Now the average risk of a woman in the United States developing breast cancer in her lifetime is about 1 in 8, which might surprise you how high that is. But what may surprise you more is that only about 3% of those cancers are attributable to either a BRCA1 or 2 mutation. Now I also want to point out that inheriting one of these genes does not guarantee that you will eventually get breast or another type of cancer. It means that you have a risk that is higher than the general population of developing this cancer. Now also, we should know that these aren't the only inherited genes with an increased risk of breast cancer. Now with modern genetic research, more and more inheritable risky genes have been identified. When these genes are identified, we can study risk reduction strategies such as preventative surgery or maybe find new targets for treatment that can improve outcomes for these tumors. Now if someone has a strong family history of certain cancers that all occur in blood relatives, it's possible they fall within this 5 or 10% of patients with an inherited high-risk gene. Genetic testing may be available for them or their family. There are specialized genetic counselors that are helpful for you to understand whether you or your family are at risk. They're also helpful in letting you understand the consequences of genetic testing. There are times when a patient or one of their family members does not want the information that you get from genetic testing. Proper genetic counseling covers all of this before any testing is done. Then of course any test results are discussed at length with the patient and family once received. West Cancer Center is currently able to provide these services via telehealth at our current location.